Hello there, and welcome back to Mull. We've got the weather today, so we're back outside. And today's message from Mull is all about something called the accumulation of marginal gains. Now, before we get to that though, just want to talk a little bit about long-term behavior change and just how difficult it can be. And obviously, that's something that we try to encourage and promote through healthy options. But it's always a bit of difficult battle, really, because the issue with long term behavioral change, especially when it comes to fitness and diet, is the fact that the changes are quite small and gradual over time. And that can lead to problems with, maintaining enthusiasm and motivation. I haven't got much enthusiasm and motivation for the midge, I should say, at this current time. Hopefully, we'll get a little breeze and it'll ease them down. Opposed to the immediate gratification you would often get with, let's say, a donut or a beer, or even just maybe taking it easy for a day. And you've always got that little battle going on, I guess, within our brain in terms of, well, I could be lazy, I could stay at home, I could watch the telly, I could put the football on, or I could have to make an effort, get my gear on, go to the gym, get a bit sweaty, get a little bit uncomfortable, or I could try to eat healthier stuff which perhaps doesn't taste quite as nice. So that always presents us with a bit of an issue psychologically, in that we're aware that long term, if we keep up those good habits, we'll get there, but it's not getting there quite right now. Perhaps it's not getting there as quick as we would like it to, whereas sometimes the bad habits have that more immediate effect upon us. Now, just going back to that accumulation of marginal gains, I haven't put this top on just for the sake of it, right? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Team Sky and British cycling. Now, a guy called Dave Brailsford has played a major role in these two cycling teams. Now, if you're into cycling yourself or sport in general, you may have heard this concept before, because there was a lot made of it around the 2012 Olympics. So Dave Brailsford was brought in previous to that in the early 2000s, because up to that point, British cycling had won something like one gold medal in the last 100 years. They hadn't done very well. Now we're synonymous with success in cycling. And obviously at the Tour de France, Team Sky have done very, very well in the last few years. And what Dave Brailsford brought in was this concept of the accumulation of marginal gains, or actually he referred to it as the aggregation of marginal gains. But in a nutshell, suggesting that if you could make a small improvement, even just say a 1% improvement on many different aspects of what you're doing, then the accumulation of all those small changes becomes really significant. So what he encouraged with Team Sky especially was things like lighter tires, more ergonomic seats, different types of massage oils to find out what one was best, different sort of biofeedback sensors so that they could have a look at what was happening to the riders in terms of their heart rate, and how hard they were working at particular points in time, and then try to tailor specific programs around that. They could also have a look at how fatigued they were becoming on certain days and try to tailor their exertion levels. He brought in the sort of skin suit that you would see worn indoors for the outdoor riders, and even down to things like educating them how to wash their hands a bit better. Now that's something obviously that's been on a lot of our minds recently, and you've probably seen lots of little YouTube clips on how to clean your hands properly, how to wash your hands properly, and how that would be done within a hospital environment. Well, he brought that to his cycling team many years, obviously before the pandemic came in, and even right down to things like what was the most effective pillow, so that their riders got a good night's skip, and then they would take those pillows with them on the road when they were traveling around. And what they found is that if he could make just a 1% improvement in every different aspect of that team, then that accumulation of all those tiny gains became really significant. And I guess that's what we do at Healthy Options. So we try not to turn people's lives around in short periods of time in terms of their their fitness levels or in terms of their dietary approach, we try to get there in very, very small steps. And what we find is that at the end of the program, for those who adhere to it and keep with us, then that accumulation of gains can add up to something significant. And with Team Sky, for example, they set a target of running the Tour de France in 5 years after Dave came in, and they won it in 3. And if you think back to 2012 Olympics, when he was in charge of the Great British Cycling Team, they won 70% of the gold medals that were available to them that year, which was quite an incredible feat. So let's try to focus on those small, gradual gains. If you think about it, if you could walk 1% further, if you can be 1% faster on a piece of kit or on a walk, increase your resistance levels by 1%, improve your posture by 1%, improve your diet by 1%, reduce your alcohol by 1%, something I should do, reduce your smoking by 1%, improve your stability and your balance by 1%, and maybe improve your mental health outlook by 1% each week, then in just a short period of time, what you'll find is that becomes really significant. But just the 1% improvement is not too much to bite off at any one time. So let's perhaps not think too far ahead about long-term goals that might be, the enormity of them might be a little bit frightening. Let's focus on the here and now. Let's focus on implementing some better systems into our lifestyle, and by doing that, hopefully in, say, even the 3 months that people are normally with us, 12 weeks, if you could be 12% better in the next 3 months, that will be really significant. If your outlook was 12% better, your mental health, if you were 12% stronger, if your cardiovascular system was 12% fitter, if your oxygen usage was 12% better, if your coordination was 12% better. Imagine for somebody coming back from a stroke, what a 12% improvement would look and feel like. It's quite incredible. If your heart function was 12% better, if your general technique on the equipment that we use or your walking technique was 12% better, that is pretty huge. But that's just looking at 1% difference each week. Aggregation, accumulation of marginal gains. So why don't we give that a go? Try not to focus too far ahead. Let's focus on creating better systems here and now, 1% improvement, and hopefully we'll be in a better place. Hope you're out enjoying the weather. Catch you next week.